Hi! So it's been so long since I made a video, like actually a ridiculous amount of, I think it was years ago, I think. But it's Saturday today and I'm not really doing much besides going out op shopping with Mama Bear this afternoon. So I thought I would get around to answering those questions that you guys sent in like a week or so ago now. I actually don't even remember when I put up the little question box, but yeah, so I'm going to do that, and I haven't really planned it whatsoever, so I apologise if I end up rambling about nothing, because that tends to be my way of things. But yeah, so I've read through the questions, and like I said, I've not planned anything at all, but some of the questions asked very similar things, so I'm just going to combine them into one question, and I'm going to not answer some because I feel like it's either divulging too much of my personal information or it mentions names of other people and I don't want to breach anyone's privacy. And on that note, I'm also not going to say who sent the questions in because I didn't know what you guys wanted, so I feel like a lot of you probably wanted to remain anonymous, which is totally cool. So I just won't mention anyone's names. Off topic, but I go back to work tomorrow, which I'm super excited about because being in hospital for 10 weeks meant I had no income for 10 weeks besides the random bits of commission that I'd get in my paycheck because other people at work had sold things for me, so yay, thank you guys. But yeah, so finally it'll be good to, and I enjoy work, so it'll be good to have something to do other than uni, of course, which is first week back and I'm already stressing out, but yeah, okay, anyway, so I apologise if I ramble, I apologise if I don't make sense, and I'm just going to go with it. So, a lot of the questions actually asked about what my biggest recovery motivations are. And I found this one quite tough to answer because I think that a lot of people who deal with mental illness, in particular eating disorders, have parts of their life when they're more motivated to get better than they are in other parts of their life. So your motivation comes and goes in waves. But when I am in a really good headspace, my main motivation to recover is the fact that I want to be able to help people. So as most of you know, I am studying psych. Currently, I'm in the year that I get to write my thesis. Ooh. So I eventually want to be working as a clinical psychologist, and I think I'd like to go into working with young people who've experienced early childhood trauma. I know I talk a lot about my eating disorder on Instagram and social media and stuff just to like try to promote awareness and things, but I actually also suffer from PTSD, which I talk about a lot less, so yeah, I would have that connection with people and I'd like to be able to explore that in like a professional setting. So that's one of my main motivations to recover, because I know that I can't help people to be well unless I'm well myself. I also really want to recover for my family because I know how awful it has been for them to see me go downhill over and over and over again. They're absolutely gorgeous, bless them. They do everything that they can to try and support me. I love them with all of my heart, and yeah, just being able to be well for them would be a really big deal for me. So yeah, I also grew up dancing competitively, and I obviously had to stop doing that when I got sick. And although I don't necessarily want to go back and compete, I think I've kind of outgrown that phase of my life, and if I went back to it, I just would not be anywhere near as good as I used to be, so just not going to happen. But I am pretty close to, I think I've actually only got my teaching exam left, and I'd love to just finish it off and do my teacher certificate and be able to teach some classes, particularly tap, because I love tap. So yeah, that's what came to my head. There are many, many more, as I'm sure you can imagine, but that's, yeah, where my head's at right now. So the main thing is uni, getting my degree, and being able to work with people in the mental health field, because that's just something I'm so passionate about. And yeah, it's now 4 minutes and 55 seconds in and I'm rambling already. So I'm going to go into the next question. So yeah, again, grouping some questions together. How are you doing? Are you happy to be home? I'm so happy to be home. Don't get me wrong, the hospital is a fantastic place of support, and the staff are all so lovely, and they helped me more than I can possibly explain, and I'm so grateful. But so happy to be home. It's a bit of a shock, to be honest, the transition from going inpatient to home, and it always is, especially after long admissions, because I don't necessarily want to use the word institutionalized, but you do get used. There is a comfort and a safety in being in hospital that obviously disappears when you have to live independently. And I live on my own, so I don't have any housemates or anything, which means that I have to be my own motivator, and everything has to come from me. I obviously have support from my team, and they're all wonderful, but in the end it's up to me to do the right thing. So that's been really difficult, but I am very glad to be home. How am I doing? It's up and down. I've been out for a week and I've faced a lot of challenges. I need to get back on top of a lot of things because stuff has slipped, which generally does happen for me when I discharge from hospital. Like, it's always a bit of a rocky transition. But I have a lot that I need to be healthy for at the moment, and I'm aiming to get back on top of things. So fingers crossed. I know I can do it. I've done it before. So, and I've seen so many other people do it. So why would I be the exception to that? I won't be. Are you working on your eating and weight gain at the moment? Yes, I am. So I have a specialist eating disorder psychologist who I see fortnightly. And we obviously work on the anorexia side of things, and she's gorgeous. I think a lot of people had it in their heads that because when I went into hospital that I'd be in there to gain weight, which I was, but I wasn't specifically on the eating disorder program. I was in there because of other reasons. So while the weight gain wasn't the main focus, it was something that was being kept on top of by the nurses and my treating psychiatrist. So yeah, it wasn't the main aim of the admission, but it was a goal. And it was a successful goal in a little bit. But yeah, I'll be continuing to work with my outpatient team on my eating disorder and stuff like that. Okay, oh bless, I'm just going to read this out. I don't have any questions, just let me tell you, you are amazing and such a strong woman. Bless your soul, that is so kind, thank you. What was it like having an admission that wasn't so weight focused? Was it more helpful? So yeah, it actually was for me, and I think that it was more helpful than... Okay, let me start again. So when you have an admission and you're going in with a certain headspace, that headspace is going to have a bit of a dictation on how successful, how helpful your admission is. So in all honesty, I went in completely unwillingly. Well, not completely unwillingly, I wasn't formed, but I was very against the idea, and it's just not something I wanted. I wanted to enjoy my summer break off uni, I wanted to work and save some money, but it just got to the point where my team was like, look, you are not well enough to be doing certain things outside of hospital. We need to put you in a safe place for containment and just to let you have some rest and to get looked after. We ended up doing a whole heap of work on my PTSD, which I've never fully really worked on properly before. So it was incredible, like, not incredible in a good way. That makes it sound like it was a wild time, and it was a wild time, just a really, really rough, wild time. But yeah, so it was helpful because for me, and for a lot of other people, I think eating disorders develop because of another reason. So I sorry, my screen just went black. My eating disorder is strongly linked to my trauma. So most admissions that I've had have worked on the eating disorder, which is obviously helpful because that needs to be worked on, but they've never had a look at the underlying cause of why I'm using the ED to cope. So having an admission that kind of looked at that gave me a lot of insight as to why I am the way that I am with food and why I struggle the way that I struggle. So it definitely helped me to understand myself a lot better. I have a lot more insight now into, like I said, why I am the way that I am, and I think that obviously weight always needs to be addressed, but at the point that I was at, I needed to work more on my trauma symptoms, and we did that, and it was definitely what I needed at the time, so I'm very grateful for that. I hope that made sense. Okay, and then I got quite a few questions on how do you keep yourself stable mentally while studying, advice on studying and time management, how do you manage to stay on top of your studies when you're struggling or unwell, any tips? So to be honest, study was and still is kind of my thing. This is going to sound really, really horrible. Sorry, I'm just going to take a sip of my coffee. Ugh, a bit cold, okay. So studying was always something that I was just naturally quite good at. I did really well throughout high school and through my undergrad at uni, and it just comes quite naturally to me. So I'm pretty lucky in that sense. Having said that, it is something I struggle hugely with when I am not coping with other things because my symptoms affect a lot of my concentration and my ability to apply myself. So there are some things I've found that help with my motivation and my nice hair, not things that help with my motivation and things that help with just studying. So my biggest thing, and you guys will probably notice because I always take pictures of my notes, is making your notes aesthetically pleasing. This not only makes the process of doing your notes more enjoyable, it also makes the studying of your notes easier because a lot of people, like myself, learn visually. So if you're using colours and symbols and images and things like that in your notes, then your brain, if you are a visual learner, is going to be able to work with the information in that way a lot better. So yeah, that's kind of like my main thing. Another thing I recommend is staying on top of things while you can. So that sounds easier, a lot easier said than done. So basically, sorry, I'm getting a phone call. I'm not going to answer it though. So it's a lot easier to study things when you have enough notes to begin with and not leaving things to the very last minute. So I aim to, and this is my goal for this semester and for this whole research thing because it's very important that I stay on top of everything. So I will do my readings prior to the lecture. I will take notes on my readings. And then I will print out the lecture slides, just like 6 slides per page. And I'll physically attend the lecture because I don't get much out of it, or I just don't end up watching it if I say I'm going to do it online. So I will physically attend the lecture, have the slides in front of me, take notes where I need to take notes based on what the lecturer is saying, and then I come home and I look at the notes I took from the reading, and I look at the notes that I've scribbled down from the lecture, and then I make another set of notes and combine those. So when it comes to studying for exams and things like that, it's a lot easier because I already have all of the notes already done, if that makes sense. I haven't always been like this, and I do end up cramming a fair bit, but for me, that's what I found to be the most helpful thing. So yeah, if you can get onto it's about finding what works for you, because no two people learn or study the exact same way. So just give different methods a go. I find looking at, this is going to sound really ridiculous, but I genuinely find looking at studies, it's called StudySpo or StudyGrams and things like that. So people post like pretty pictures of their notes, and it inspires me because I want to make my notes look that pretty. So as lame as that sounds, I totally recommend looking into that. Okay, so that was a nice mumble bumble there. Please upload a makeup tutorial. I got a couple that said this, and I don't know how I would do it, to be honest. Like, if it's something you guys genuinely would want to see, then for sure, like, I'll do it, but I'd have to plan that one. And, like, what do you want? Do you want, like, an everyday makeup tutorial, or, like, a basic, like this, just put on some shit makeup tutorial, or, like, a I'm going out makeup tutorial? I don't know. So if you guys do want that, just let me know, but be a bit more specific about what you want so I know what I'm doing. And if I was to do that, I need to film with a proper camera because there's no way this camera here would pick up on anything. So yeah. You're the bravest. Oh, bless. You guys are actually honestly so kind to me. You have no idea how much it means. I'm so grateful, like beyond words grateful. So thank you. And I hope that I communicate that enough to you. So I apologize if I don't, but yeah, just because I need to say it, thank you so much. Can you speak another language? Which one would you like to learn? No, I can't. I do really want to learn Auslan, so that's the Australian Sign Language. I've actually looked into doing a course in that, so I might get into that. I learned Italian at school, but I don't think I remember a great deal of it. So yeah, I think the main one I want to learn is Auslan. Have you ever been to Brazil? No, I haven't, but I do want to. Would you like to come someday? Yes. Sorry, I answered that question prematurely. But yes, I'd love to. Travel is something that I am so keen on. If I had more money than I do, which is unfortunately not my situation, but yeah, travel is something I'm really looking forward to being able to do in the future. What are your Netflix favourites? Okay, I have Netflix, but I barely watch it because I get really set on the TV shows that I'm watching, and I can only watch one series for a block of time. So at the moment, I'm in a Grey's Anatomy phase. I've seen it all before, about 6 times, but this is my series at the moment. After this, it's probably going to be SVU again because we just cycle through the same things. So the last thing I watched on Netflix was Gossip Girl, embarrassingly enough, and that was probably for about the 15th time as well. I really enjoyed Atypical. I quite liked The Good Place as well. I haven't actually finished watching that, so that's a nice reminder actually. I'm going to get back into that because that's quite funny. I love Parks and Rec. I wish we had the American Netflix. There's so much more on there. But yeah, sorry, I can't really answer that question because I don't really watch a great deal of TV, but yeah, so my Netflix favourites are probably Gossip Girl and Atypical. Yeah, not that exciting. Do you live alone, and does that help or harm your recovery? Yes, I do live alone, and I think it has both pros and cons in terms of my recovery. Like I said before, it means that I have to be a lot more stringent and I have to be more accountable because I'm the one who's supervising myself. So in that way, it can be a bit more difficult because it is easier to get away with a lot of things because you've got no one to kind of watch over you. But having said that, I also really enjoy just having my own space, and I found it really beneficial for my mental health to just have a bit of breathing space and be able to come home after work or after study and just be able to stop and not be around other people. I actually do have a fair bit of social anxiety, so I get very tired from social situations very quickly. And I've done the whole housemate thing, and it was great, but I did find it quite exhausting in that sense. So living on my own has definitely helped with that. Sorry. skincare questions. Best skincare routine. I can't really answer this question because there is no no, let me start again. I can't answer this question without knowing what your specific skin type is or what your main skin concerns are, because the routine for a combination skin type or a dry skin type or an oily skin type they're all completely different, very different products. Yeah, so if you guys want me to answer questions about that, just feel free to send me a message with what your skin type is, and I can tell you some products and stuff that I recommend. You don't have to spend a mountain. I'm unfortunately one of the unlucky ones, and my skin is super responsive to certain things, so my skincare routine is a little bit more on the expensive side. But yeah, so if you guys do want me to answer questions like that, just send me a message and about like what your skin type is and what your primary concerns are, and I will answer them for you. Your top countries you want to travel, and where have you already been? Sending you a big hug. Oh, bless. I honestly just want to go anywhere and everywhere. Like, I will say no to nothing. I will say yes to everything and no to nothing. I have been to the Pacific Islands, so we did Fiji, Vanuatu, some smaller islands as well, and I've been to Indonesia, but that's actually it. We, as a family, when I lived with my parents, we did a lot of travel, but it was around Australia, so I literally, my mum works in the education system, so she took myself and my younger brother out of school for a year, and we drove around Australia, so it was kind of like homeschooling. But yeah, we saw all of Australia, and that was an incredible experience. I don't remember all of it, obviously, because I was quite young. This was like year 7, I think, so I would have been 12. But it was a really good experience, and I'm very grateful we got to do that. But we never really went internationally, just because of my parents' work commitments and stuff like that. So most of my international exploring is happening on my terms. I think that we've got a trip to Thailand in the making, I hope. So I need to start saving for that because we is broke. Okay, I've answered those. What is my greatest fear? I think, to be honest, my greatest fear is living with my illness for the rest of my life. Or my illnesses, to be more specific. I know it's been a really rough journey, but I do want to get better. Like I said before, the recovery is like that, and your motivation for recovery is also like that. And I get to my highs and lows, but throughout most of it, I do want to get better. So my biggest fear is staying the way that I am for the rest of my life, because I don't want that, and it's not sustainable, and it means that I'm not going to be able to fully live and experience the things that I want to experience. So yeah, I'd say that's probably my fear. Okay, there's quite a few. Okay, I'll answer this one, and this will be my last one, just because it's already 23 minutes in, and yeah, I might answer the rest in another video if you guys want me to. So what kind of things did you do while inpatient, treatment activities, etc.? So basically we would attend 2 groups a day. The groups would be either like skills-based interpersonal therapy, which is more like a talk-based therapy, or an art therapy. So we'd go to 2 of those a day, and then you have time with your consultant psychiatrist, so they will come and visit you, and depending on who your psychiatrist is, the frequency that they come and see you varies based on that. And then a lot of it was about learning about yourself and about the things that you can do to cope when you're struggling, or about things that you enjoy doing. So we spent a lot of time doing craft and distraction activities and things like that. I was really, really lucky to have some amazing nurses, so I had quite a few really good, insightful conversations with them. And yeah, so that's basically it, to be honest. But I'm going to wrap it up because this is very long. I'm sorry. I appreciate if you've managed to watch all of this, because I'm sure it is really not that exciting. But yeah, if you guys have any other questions or want me to do any other videos, just send me a message, let me know. It's easy enough for me to do. Gives me a bit of distraction, so I enjoy doing it. Yeah, so I am going to head off. I'm going op shopping with Mama Bear, so I'm a little bit excited about that. But yeah, have a lovely day, guys, and treat yourselves with the kindness that